the quote of the night. How about that? We'll do that. You cannot create experience, you must undergo it. And that's Albert Camus. And that is my rough French pronunciation of that name. Um, but I'm trying. Okay. So I'm in a hole right now. This quote is kind of not just because I agree with it and not just because it fits what's going on right now, but it's also like a personal reminder to me at the moment because a couple weeks ago I had off. I did some content production. I was really motivated to like get some shit going on and was really proud of myself for getting some stuff out and learning some new tricks. And it motivated me to start looking back into some things that I had looked into previously. And I'm like, things are clicking now. I'm like, oh, I know how to do this. And I know if I use this program that I honestly, I have it on my laptop from years ago when I first started researching how to do like graphic design stuff and art programs and things like that, where I just don't have a lot of experience. I've not played around with it like played seriously with things. I've played like not seriously at all. Um, and played seriously may not sound like, I don't know, like you're trying to use it for a work type purpose, but I think, um, well, I guess with this quote, it even fits with that. Like you can't make new things without trying them out first. You know, like you're gonna fail, but like you're never gonna actually figure it out unless you do it. So playing around is that. Like you play to figure it out. And I can't jump in and just make things for serious until I play around for not serious. But my problem right now, and the reminder that I need right now, is I've been watching tutorials. Well, mostly listening to the tutorials to have things click for me, which they are, but I have yet to actually download the program and start using it on my big computer because I'm not digging out my laptop just for this one program. I'll put it on my big computer and play around with it for serious. But um, this is my reminder. This quote is my reminder that I can't just sit and watch tutorials on it. I need to actually download it and start messing around in it. Because otherwise, I won't actually be able to do the real stuff, like the work stuff, the content creation stuff. And funnily enough, it's coinciding with some graphic design stuff I'm having done at work. Now, granted, we have graphic designers, but there's a lot about that process that I don't know, and it makes me feel less adequate when I know they're going to send me um, kind of like drafts, what proofs, I don't know. There's terms, I'm sure. I don't know what they are. But they're going to send me, "Hey, does this design look good to you?" And I just don't know enough to feel confident in saying, "I don't like this. Can we switch this around?" Blah, blah, blah. I have somebody I'm working with who does feel more confident because she does more graphic design stuff, and it's nice to have her. She's helping me like take pictures, and she's gonna, help me kind of brainstorm ideas for it and then review, which is really, really nice. But I don't like feeling like I don't have the vocabulary or at least some basic understanding of what I'm looking at, because I feel like I'm being critical without like knowing what I'm talking about if I reject their design ideas, because they're busy. They've got more than just me. I'm not the only person at the institution. So it's like, it's kind of an interesting place to be. And it keeps happening where I do something because of my hobby. This is my hobby at the moment. This is not my job. Could it be my job one day? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll be a full time content creator one day. Or maybe this will just remain a hobby of mine that I do for self care. And both scenarios are totally fine with me. But yet again, this is something that I'm doing for my current hobby that also applies to my work. And it's weird how that shit keeps happening. Like, I mean, I was kind of motivated because of the stuff at work, but also I'm more motivated because of the content creation side of things. But yet it applies to both. and I'm going to extrapolate different information from both, but it's going to make me better both for this, my hobby, but also for professionally. So it's just interesting. It keeps happening. It's happened with like bookmaking stuff, and it's happened with content creation stuff before. Like, just anyway, being able to apply things I've learned just because I was like, I need to figure this out. And then at work it's like, oh, I can apply what I've been figuring out for fun to things at my job. And it's great. But yes, my reminder is, don't get stuck in tutorial land. Don't get stuck in absorbing the information. The next step, the step I must take soon, is doing something with that. Because I could get into the deep, deep rabbit hole and never actually apply these things. And these are things that I am like interested in doing, that I need to start working on. They are the next steps in my content creation journey. So that is the quote of the night. And that is the reason why it's the quote of the night, because it's not tonight that I need to start applying the things I am absorbing at the moment, but like maybe this weekend, you know. I'm trying not to push it too fast. I keep running into my own roadblocks where if I'm pushing too quickly, I just stop because I'm pushing too much too soon. But it's coming. Like, I need to make sure I don't get stuck, because it's a trap. It's a trap I know that I am prone to. So there you have it. That is where I'm at, and I'm excited because the program is Inkscape, and I'm excited to use it because I've been excited in the past about it. I learned about it years ago, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to play around with it." And I downloaded it and I started messing around with it, and then I didn't go anywhere with it. So now that I have years in between then and now, there's a lot that I've absorbed since then that I'm like, "Oh, I had no idea." And okay, I should let me see if I can I get to YouTube? Because if you are interested in, so far what I've learned from this YouTuber, TJ Free, the first playlist I found was about using Piskel, which is a free clear, concise tutorials. It was a really short playlist that he had done for Piskel, but I've been trying to use Piskel to test out doing pixel art, but also when I eventually get to the point where I can have emotes, I would love to be able to make my own, and I just don't know enough. So I was like, well, maybe I'll look up some tutorials, because I'd kind of fucked around with it and I was like, and then got away from it because it felt really tedious, and I felt like, I don't know how to make this faster. I'm sure there are ways. And finally I was just like, oh, I should look up tutorials, and I found TJ Free. Great. So I kind of gleaned a lot from his tutorials, and I got back into Piskel and I was like, oh, this is much simpler. Like, there's still some tedium to it. And I think that's just the nature of the beast. But there's also things that I wasn't utilizing, tools and things that I wasn't using within the interface, that I was just like, oh, this makes things so much easier. I don't know why I just censored myself there. Makes it so much fucking easier, because I was going the long way around because I just didn't know better. So I don't know, a week after I got through those tutorials and was like getting excited about using Piskel again, I was like, well, maybe I should look into, some open source, art programs or free access art programs. And that's when I got reminded of Inkscape. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember looking at that. Well, maybe I can find some tutorials. And the tutorials that popped up, probably because I watched his Piskel ones, was TJ Free. And honestly, there's a lot of stuff that I don't, it's too advanced for me right now, or it's stuff that I don't necessarily need to do, but I like to listen to it because there might be things in the information that I'm like, I need that, or that's an interesting piece, or that's interesting to know that that will be available to me when I get there, kind of thing. And I don't know, there's like 87 videos in his, which sounds intimidating, but it's not. Like the basic core stuff, they're like 10-minute videos is in the beginning, and then he's like, and this is how you make this, or this is how you can apply this, or this is, like for different, like how to make t-shirt designs, or how to make stuff for animation things, or just like basic things. Like if you can make this, then you can apply those techniques to other things. And I'm just like, oh. So yeah, it's been really interesting, but this is why I need to not get stuck in absorb mode, because now I need to go and apply the lessons, because a lot of them he's like, okay, do this. Like try and recreate what I'm doing here, which is, what you do to learn things in class. But it's self-paced because it's the, YouTube University situation. But if you are looking, I don't know what other stuff he does, but the stuff that I have, looks like he does lots of learn video editing, learn animation, learn graphic design. He's got lots of different playlists and if all of his playlists are as well organized and thorough as the ones that I am currently going through, he is definitely somebody I would recommend to at least check out and see if his teaching style gels with your learning style. Because so far, so far I've just been like, yes, this is great. And strange nerd tangent, he almost sounds like a little bit like Tom Lehrer, and if you know who that is, then welcome to the nerd club. So or at least hello, fellow nerd. Maybe you're not being welcomed to the nerd club. You probably are a long-term nerd like me. But his voice reminds me a little bit of Tom Lehrer. I almost thought about commenting too, like, hey man, you make really great tutorials, and you sound like Tom Lehrer. Could you do the Element song so everybody, we're poisoning pigeons in the park?